Hello everyone and welcome back. This is the last video in our quick series on CT anatomy of a normal brain. This time we will look at a normal brain in CT, sagittal cuts. Again, a big shout out to Radiopedia for the very clear and excellent CT scan images. This is a normal brain in sagittal cuts. Number one here, we can see the mastoid ear cells. And number two is the temporalis muscle coming into view. So we're moving from lateral to medial. Number three is the zygomatic arch. Moving more medially, we encounter the external auditory canal or the EAC. 5 coming into view, the temporomandibular joint or the TMJ. 6 here is the tentorium cerebelli, this linear hyperdense structure. And 7 is the Sylvian fissure, the Sylvian fissure. 8 here is the temporal lobe. And posteriorly, of course, in the occiput, the occipital lobe. 10 coming into view is the carotid canal. So we are moving further medially. 11 is the trigon, also known as the atrium of the lateral ventricle. 12 here is the centrum semi-ovale, and 13 is the forceps minor. 14 is the frontal lobe. Inferiorly, 15, this is the superior orbital fissure. And 16, of course, is the cerebellum. 17 here clearly is the body of the lateral ventricle. Anteriorly, we encounter the head of the caudate nucleus. This is the caudate nucleus and this is the head. 19, this is the cavernous sinus. This space here, the cavernous sinus. 20 is the thalamus. And 21 is the occipital lobe resting on the occipital bone. 22 is the middle cerebellar peduncle. 23, this is the genu or the head of the corpus callosum. The corpus callosum, of course, is the structure which divides the brain into a left and right hemisphere. 24 is the splenium, also known as the tail of the corpus callosum. 25, inferiorly, is the cerebral peduncle or the cerebral crus. 26, this hyperdense linear structure corresponds to the superior sagittal sinus. 27, this is the body of the corpus callosum. 28 is the great cerebral vein of Galen. And in front of it, 29, the internal cerebral veins. Again, we note that these are CT scan slices of a non-contrast study. If this were a contrast study, we would expect the artery and even the veins to light up. 30 is the inferior colliculus, this protrusion over here, the inferior colliculus. 31 is the optic chiasm. 32 is the pons. 33 is the fourth ventricle over here. 34 is the medulla. And 35 is the cerebellar tonsil. 36, this corresponds to the marginal sulcus, also known as the pars marginalis. 37 is the cingulate sulcus. Again, we remember that gyrus refers to the folded brain gray matter. And the sulcus are the creases or the spaces in between the gyri. 38 is the cingulate gyrus, and 39 here is the body of the fornix. 40 corresponds to the pineal gland. Again, we remember that the pineal gland is hyperdense on CT because of the presence of corpora arenacea, also known as brain sand. 41, these are the mammillary bodies coming from the thalamus. 42 is the cerebral aqueduct of Sylvius. The cerebral aqueduct of Sylvius connects the third ventricle to the fourth ventricle. 43 here is the interpeduncular cistern. 44, coming into view here, this is the pituitary gland. 45 is the foramen of Magendie. 46, this is the bastion. And 47 is the opistheon. 48 is the central sulcus of Rolando, dividing the frontal lobe from the parietal lobe. Central sulcus of Rolando. 49 is the rostrum of the corpus callosum. And 50 is the straight sinus. 51 here is the superior colliculus, this protrusion over here, the superior colliculus. 52 is the suprasellar cistern. The suprasellar cistern is CSF filled. 53 is the torcula herophili. We remember that the torcula herophili is the confluence of the sinuses. 54 is the basilar artery. 52 is the odontoid process of C2, vertebral body. And 56 is the cervical spinal cord coming into view here as it exits from this large, well, this is the largest foramina in the skull base, which is the foramen magnum. We are moving even more medially. 57 is the precentral gyrus. The precentral gyrus corresponds to the primary motor cortex, and immediately posterior to the primary motor cortex, we encounter the post-central gyrus. The post-central gyrus, at this time, corresponding to the primary somatosensory cortex. So again, the precentral gyrus, 57, is the primary motor cortex. And immediately posterior to it, the post-central gyrus is the primary somatosensory cortex. Superiorly, we encounter 59, the quadrigeminal cistern. 60, this bony protrusion here, this is the tuberculum cellae. And posterior to it, 61, is the dorsum cellae. 60, the tuberculum cellae, and 61, the dorsum cellae, together form the pituitary fossa, where the pituitary gland lies or rests. 62, this is the prepontine cistern, which is the CSF-filled space in front of, as the name suggests, in front of the pons. We recall that the pons is the second of the three components of the brainstem. Superiorly to inferiorly, the brainstem is comprised of the midbrain, which is somehow visible here, the pons, and the medulla, the three components of the brainstem. 63 here coming into view, this is the anterior arch of the C1 vertebra. 64, this is the clivus. And 65 is the pharyngeal tonsil coming into view. We are moving medially still. 66 is the frontal horn of the lateral ventricle. and 67 is the posterior arch of C1. 68 is the frontal pole. 69, this is the carotid canal. So we have just crossed into the contralateral side of the brain. 70, this is the trapezius muscle. We have already crossed the corpus callosum, and therefore we are in the contralateral brain. 71, this is the tail of the hippocampus. And 72, this is the cavernous sinus of this side of the brain. 73, this is the occipital horn of the lateral ventricle. And 74 is the cerebellopontine angle, or CPA cistern. The cerebellopontine angle cistern. This hyperdense triangular structure here is the transverse sinus. 76 here, this is the forceps major. And coming into view here, 77, is the temporal horn of the lateral ventricle. 78, this is the temporal pole. 79 is the coronoid process of the mandible. 80 is the sigmoid sinus. And 81, this is the neck of the mandible. Therefore, we have already completely crossed the other side of the brain. Let's do it quickly in reverse this time. Moving medially again, laterally to medially, we encounter 80, the sigmoid sinus. 81, this is the neck of the mandible. 79, this is the coronoid process of the mandible. 78 is the temporal pole. We are moving medially still. 77, this is the temporal horn of the lateral ventricle. 76, the forceps major. 75 is the transverse sinus. 73, this is the occipital horn of the lateral ventricle. And 74, this is the cerebellopontine angle cistern. 71 is the hippocampal tail. Actually, adjacent to it is some choroid plexus. And we know that the choroid plexus is the structure in the brain responsible for producing cerebrospinal fluid. 72 is the cavernous sinus. 68 is the frontal pole. And 69 is the carotid canal. 70 is the trapezius muscle. 66, this is the frontal horn of the lateral ventricle. 67 is the posterior arch of C1. 64, this is the clivus. And 65 is the pharyngeal tonsil. 57, this corresponds to the precentral gyrus, which is the primary motor cortex, separated by the central sulcus of Rolando. 58 is the post-central gyrus, which is the primary somatosensory cortex. 59 is the quadrigeminal cistern. 60, anteriorly, this bony protrusion is the tuberculum sellae, 61 is the dorsum sellae, and this is, of course, the pituitary fossa, upon which the pituitary gland rests or lies. 62 is the prepontine cistern, and 63 is the anterior arch of C1. '48 is the central sulcus of Rolando, which separates the frontal and the parietal lobes. 49 is the rostrum of the corpus callosum. 50 is the straight sinus. 51 is the superior colliculus. And 52 is the suprasellar cistern. 53, this is the torcula herophili, or the confluence of sinuses. 54 is the basilar artery. This is the basilar artery. 55 is the odontoid process of a C2 vertebra. And 56 is the cervical spinal cord. 36 is the marginal sulcus, also known as the pars marginalis. And 57 is the cingulate sulcus. 38 corresponds to the cingulate gyrus over here, the cingulate gyrus. 39 is the body of the fornix, and this hyperdense structure here is, of course, the pineal gland. 41 are the mammillary bodies. 42 here is the cerebral aqueduct of Sylvius. 43 is the interpeduncular cistern, and 44 is the pineal gland. The pituitary gland. This is the pituitary gland. 45 is the foramen of Magendie. 46, this protrusion of the clivus here. The clival protrusion here is known as the bastion. And this protrusion of the occipital bone posteriorly is the opistheon. This is the bastion. Posteriorly, this is the opistheon. 26 is the superior sagittal sinus, and 27 is the body of the corpus callosum. 28, this is the great cerebral vein of Galen, and 29 is the internal cerebral veins. 30 is the inferior colliculus. 31 is the optic chiasm, 32 is the pons. 33 is the fourth ventricle. 34 is the medulla. And 35, this is the cerebellar tonsil. 23, this is the genu, also known as the head of the corpus callosum. And 24 is the splenium, or the tail of the corpus callosum. 25 is the cerebral peduncle, also known as the cerebral crus. 20 is, of course, the thalamus. 21 is the occipital lobe. And 22 is the middle, cerebellar peduncle. 17 here, this is the body of the lateral ventricle. And 18 is the head of the caudate nucleus. 19 is the cavernous sinus. 16 here, this is the cerebellum. And faintly we can see the tentorium cerebelli, separating it from the rest of the cerebrum. 15 is the superior orbital fissure, or SOF. 14, this is the frontal lobe. 13 here is the forceps minor, and 12 is the centrum semiovale. The centrum semiovale. 11 is the trigon, or atrium, of the lateral ventricle. Number 10 is the carotid canal, of course, of the contralateral side of the brain already. 9 is the occipital lobe. 8 is the temporal lobe. This is the temporal lobe. And 7 is the sylvian fissure. 6 is the tentorium cerebelli. 5 is the TMJ, or the temporomandibular joint. And 49, this hypodense structure here, is the external auditory canal. 3 is the zygomatic arch. And 2 is the temporalis muscle. And finally, of course, the mastoid air cells.